Welcome to the Winning in Business podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Rissy, and I love talking to business professionals, leaders, and entrepreneurs who are winning in business. Are you ready to reach your next level of success? If so, join us on the Winning in Business podcast as I interview entrepreneurs, business professionals, and leaders who share how they've risen to success. Before we begin, go ahead, hit subscribe and the notification button so you'll be notified each time a new episode is released. Plug in and settle in. You're about to be inspired to rise up to your next level of success. Welcome to another episode of Winning in Business. This is your host, Kelly Rissy, and today I am here with my guest, Angie Miller. Welcome, Angie.
Hello, Kelly. It's so good to be here.
It is so great to have you. So guests, let me tell you a little bit about Angie. Angie Miller is a global wellness specialist who champions the intersection between physical, mental, and emotional well-being. As a licensed clinical mental health therapist, certified wellness coach, international speaker, author, and renowned fitness expert, Angie blends her expertise to empower individuals and audiences worldwide, giving them mental and physical strategies for success. Angie hosts NASM's Strong Mind, Strong Body podcast, and she offers keynotes and workshops internationally, helping individuals and teams stress less, adapt to change, and build mental strength and agility. Angie is a professional development educator for the National Academy of Sports Medicine and formerly taught stress management and sports psychology in the Department of Kinesiology at Northern Illinois University. She films with Gaiam TV Fit and Yoga and writes for numerous professional journals. She is a true luminary in the field of integrative health and a catalyst for positive transformation. Angie, we are going to have an amazing conversation today because you and I have a great passion for some of the similar things, and your expertise is going to shine a light even more on what we're going to talk about. So I am so excited to have you today.
I'm so excited to be here, Kelly. I do. I think that you and I could talk forever. We have such a united mission, and there's so much that we can learn from one another, and also so much that I think that we can share with your listeners.
Yes, excellent. So after reading your bio, I am dying to know, how did you get into doing what you do?
Well, it's interesting. Growing up, I was the opposite of sporty spice. Okay. So I never did anything physical. We did not grow up. We were a family of 5 women and my mom. We never did any sports or activities. I hated PE. Fast forward, I get out of college and I became a teacher. And I wanted to meet people. I probably wanted to meet boys. And I joined a gym and I started taking group fitness classes. And my favorite instructor said, "You should teach." And I thought, oh my gosh, what a blending of all my passions. I get to tell people what to do, and I get to exercise, and I get to educate. And that led me to a lifetime of teaching fitness classes and then filming fitness videos. And it led me one step to another. We won't go through all the things, but that's how the fitness component started.
Excellent. And so then you're also a mental health specialist. So when did that come about? And then how did you transition into speaking, or was that very natural, just as you as an expert?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's interesting because I don't know about everybody else, but my path has been anything but linear. My path has been a side road here and a side road here. And sometimes the side road takes me where I want to go. Sometimes the side road is a gentle reminder that I need to get back on the main road. And so when I started teaching school, I was getting my master's degree and I got it in counseling and started out a school counselor. And then we started moving around, and we moved 5 times, and fitness always stayed with me. I was teaching fitness classes, filming fitness videos, and it led me into being a fitness educator, where I started to train personal trainers and group fitness instructors for the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And from there, then I got to a point in my life where my kids were getting older, and I was looking at my life like, what am I going to do when I grow up? And so I love fitness, but I want to do more. And so I started to teach at university. I taught stress management and sports psychology. And I realized in working with the students that here I had been working with people in fitness and wellness for decades. And in working with these students, I recognized one thing. The core foundation for a lot of us when it comes to our concerns, whether they are mental health related or just wellness related, it has to do with managing stress. And so I thought, okay, time to get back on the main road. And I went back and I had already had a master's in counseling. So I went through the clinical aspect, had to take a few more courses, get my national license, and then became a licensed clinical mental health counselor. And so just that teaching stress management really made me realize that I wanted to bridge fitness and mental health. And I
Mhm.
wanted to talk about powerful ways to manage stress and have a healthy mind and a healthy body.
Oh, that's fabulous. So as you're doing this and you're in the business world, what are some big ahas that have been just takeaways for you? You know, I feel like one of them that I just heard you say, even that listeners, I hope you heard this as well, is sometimes the side road is to go somewhere else, and sometimes the side road is to get you back on the main road. Like that's a great aha in itself. I
Mhm.
also know that you have more. What like are they quality, skills, mindset? What are some ahas for you that have made you successful?
I think, and success is what? Success is driven personally, right? So I
Mhm.
will tell you that I've never been one of those people who says success is driven by income. Success to me is driven by joy. And yes, 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 money pays the bills without a doubt. But if I think about many of the things that I've done, education is not a high paid profession.
Mhm.
And so mental health is not a high paid profession.
Yeah. And
But
really the fitness world often isn't either.
no, exactly. And so
Mhm.
all of the things that I have chosen to do have been service oriented. It
Yeah.
has been, hey, I've been through this journey. I've had my experiences. I've had my doubts. I've had my times where I've fallen down on the ground and had to get back up. And really, what I want is to inspire others and give them tools to do the same. So I'd say that one of my aha moments is just that it's okay to find yourself in a place that you didn't think you were going to be. And it's okay to say, but this feels amazing. And it's
Mhm.
also okay to say, it does feel amazing. And what else can I do with this? And so each part of my journey taught me a little bit about what I don't want and a little
Mhm.
bit about what I do want. So I never consider a place or stage in my life to be a failure or a waste of time. It's a lesson. And then from there, I get to take the next step and kind of reinvent myself and nuance how I serve people so that I'm always doing what I'm passionate about. It just might look a little bit different.
Oh, yes. That's beautiful. I know, you and I shared that we were both educators. And I feel like coming from the educator world itself, um, there that I mean, that is service. It is service. And if you ask most people about being an educator, they're like, oh my God, I would never want to do that. And yet from that, we learned how to serve.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
And we learn how to meet people where they're at. We
Yes.
learned how
Yes.
to see people for who they are, not who we want them to be,
Yes.
and to say, okay, this is who you are, what's working, what's not. And
Yeah.
how do we build off of your strengths and help
Yes.
you become the best version of you?
Yes. Taking them where they are to really where they want to go. Yeah. That's beautiful. Good. Okay. What's another aha to share?
Boy, Kelly, I would say that I've learned that no is not no forever. No is no for now. And also sometimes the no's are the doors that I was never meant to go through. So
Mhm.
sometimes the no is I have to take a minute for that grief. And I do think that's important, not from a place of pity, but from a place of grief. It's okay to
Mhm.
grieve being told no. It's
Mhm.
okay to grieve all the things and to say, gosh, I thought I would be the perfect fit. And it's then very powerful to be able to pick yourself back up and say, okay, well, that didn't work for whatever reason. And so now what? And so I try not to go down the why, the slippery slope of why for
Mhm.
too long. Of course, I'm going to have a moment to reflect on it. That's the grief. But then to say, okay, now what? Now what's in store for me? What other doors can I open? And so I try not to let the no's get me down on the ground and keep me stuck.
Yeah, that is great. And the no not yet or no not now, I think is just so powerful for us to always keep remembering, because that slippery slope, right? That's the last thing that we want to do, because that causes stress. So if we take it as it is and go, no, not right now. There's something better, something else, something whatever, that when we keep that mindset and focus on the positiveness of it, I feel like that energy will allow more doors to open, right? When we have the energy of, oh, well, that wasn't the right thing for me. That's a
Right.
different energy than staying down low.
For sure. And it's also a way to take your power back or to keep your power.
Mm-hmm.
To say it's okay if I'm not for them, if all else for today, if I'm not for them. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that I'll never be for them. And it could mean that I'm not meant to be for them
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah. I had a mentor, and she's like, you get one pity party song and you play that song and you have the pity party during the song. And when the song is over, then the pity party is over too. Which, sometimes one time of the song is good, and sometimes you might need two versions of it. But anyway, okay, what else?
I think, and sometimes we might need to just bellow into a mic karaoke style.
Yes, exactly.
Um, So I think another thing would just be that having good mentors and also just people that I admire, people that I look up to. They may not even know that I admire them. They may not even know that they're my secret mentor, but I can get insight and perspective and awareness just by watching them, or hopefully if they'll give me a conversation, having that conversation. But I also think, Kelly, that when I was thinking about the whole mentorship thing, I've had a lot of women and men that I admire. And sometimes I have noticed, at least for me, maybe other people haven't had that journey, I have to be careful at how much I invite in,
Mhm.
because sometimes you might invite in so much information to where it becomes noise and you're not sure what to take and what to leave behind. And the next thing you know, someone else is creating your journey. And I think we have to be very grounded in knowing who we are. So we take it in as information and intel, but it's not noise and it doesn't become overwhelming to where we still get to say, this sounds good. I'll throw that one out. This sounds good. I'll throw that one out, so that I don't try to adapt and mold myself according to what somebody else says I should or could look like.
Yes, y'all, that right there is gold. That is
Yeah.
gold. And I feel like when we have those mentors and we're watching them or they're sharing things with us, it's always from their perspective. And we
Yeah.
have a different perspective. We have different values. We might have, just different beliefs, like all of those things. And like to your point, 100% of stay true to yourself. Take what you need, leave the rest.
I think so too. Because at the end of the day, nobody knows you as intimately as you do.
Mhm.
And also, it depends on how much of your personal situation or how your life looks in all the ways. If you look at the wellness
Right.
kind of rubric, you know where there's some missing space or some things you need to work on. And so, while they might have all wonderful ideas, at the end of the day, life is life. You kind of have to know where your bandwidth of time and emotional energy is so that it doesn't lead to, oh gosh, I should be doing
Yeah.
this. And you're not shoulding yourself.
Mhm.
Right. Because shoulds are shame.
Yes. Shoulds are shame. And that also that all of that whole thing of I should, it just stress. Like you just feel the pressure of it. You know what I mean? And then that's not getting anybody anywhere. Then you're contracted. Then you can't think clear. You can't focus as well. Right. And then, the ideas aren't there, what you need to do. It just all becomes bleh.
Yeah.
But they can't see that. The people that are listening can't see the blah. Only those on YouTube can.
Ah,
Yeah.
well, it's paralysis. It's almost
Yes.
paralysis by analysis. And it's
Yes.
all this focus on what you're not doing instead of what you are. And how
Mhm.
about stopping, taking a pause, and give yourself some grace? So I like to make little lists about everything I accomplished each day. So that
Mhm.
instead of focusing on what I didn't accomplish, I get to rewrite what I did so that I get to have my Angie congratulation party.
Yes, yes. That's funny because there are days that I pat myself on the back and congratulate myself for making the bed in the morning. Like, seriously, it's like, good job, Kel, because
Yeah.
we need to be celebrating more for the things that we do because it can be so easy to recognize all the things we don't do. So, getting back to that positive. So, I'm curious for you, what challenges do you face as a business owner?
I'd say my biggest challenge is trying to be all the things, trying to be my social media expert, my marketing
Mhm,
expert,
mhm,
my negotiator,
mhm.
my person who does all development of my content, trying to do all the things. And so, um, as a small business person, some of it can be delegated. And then sometimes delegating takes more time. Explaining to people who you are, what you want, and truly explaining what your mission is. So there are some things that I don't delegate. I don't delegate social media because I found that anytime I've ever tried, I've spent more time trying to tell them who I am and to actually see me so that the content that goes out is a reflection of me. And
Mhm.
so I think the biggest, yeah, that's the biggest one is being one
Yes.
and knowing that I have limits in being one.
Yeah, so for you being one and having this passion for helping people with their stress, which we know as being a business owner and a high level professional, like it is stressful. What do
Yes.
you do to help manage your own stress?
Probably my number one thing that I do to manage stress, it's actually two, I'd say they're neck and neck. I'm
Hmm.
physical, right? So I
Yep.
exercise. The
Hmm.
second thing that I do is I journal. I have been a journaler my whole life. And so often I call it word vomiting. I open up the notes app on my phone and I word vomit whatever is upsetting me. And then I get to put it aside. It no longer has that power over me.
Yeah.
And so the minute I unleash it or release it, I give it away and it's no longer owning me or I'm not wearing it like a warm blanket. And so I'd say journaling and exercise are probably two of my most powerful things that I do.
Yeah. That's great. I love moving my body as well and have done so many different forms of it. And that's something for me that I always want to make sure that it's fresh for me. You know what I mean? That I'm enjoying my exercise because if not, then it's a chore and I don't need another chore at this point. Um, and journaling, it's so interesting that you say that. For me, I go in and out. So I love that you're telling our listeners like just the power of journaling for you. When I do it, I love it. I'm also one of those people that I find for myself, I need to set a timer because I could journal for like hours. And
Mhm.
so, and then I'm like, oh, wait, I actually need to be productive and get things done. So helpful for me. And also knowing that the best way for me to do it is to give myself a time limit
Mm.
about, you know what I mean? And then release, like you said, it releases so much and then go. Are you someone, do you ever feel like you need to give yourself a time limit or are you good? Like you're just like, I write it all out and off I go and it's okay.
No, because usually my fingers can word vomit as fast as my brain wants them to,
Yeah.
which is why the notes app on my phone works beautifully. And I've never been one who needed all the journal prompts or the pretty journal. I've
Yeah,
got
I don't
journals
either.
from all throughout the years. And
Mm,
mostly when I journal, it's when I'm in strong feelings or emotions. And then
mhm.
I just get that off my plate, so to speak, so that I have free space to create and invent. And
Yeah.
so, also I'm those of you out there who are very strong, you can also be very sensitive. And so, at knowing that I'm a sensitive person, but also a strong person, it's important to me not to wear those emotions because I will wear them and people might recognize them. And I always say it's not other people's responsibility to manage themselves.
Mhm.
It's my responsibility to manage me and how I respond to them. And so it's very important to me to always have that sense that I can manage me no matter how someone else shows up.
Yes, I feel like we can often get into the definitely like the blame game of
Yeah.
blaming other people, right? Instead of going, wait a minute, I'm in charge of my own emotions. You know, as you just said, like be responsible for me. How am I responding? How am I reacting? And just making sure that we're not blaming all the other situations and things for what we could do, right? Because we
Right.
can, like you said, go journal, go move your body, whatever form of stress management you want to do, and then come back in a new with new energy, really is what how I like to look at it.
Well, and I also think it's fair to say that sometimes, yes, people might say and do things that upset you. And I always say, and I don't use the word but,
Uh-huh.
and at the same time, it's also up to me to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with that? Yes, it
Yeah.
feels icky. Yes, I'm feeling all the things. And
Mhm.
now what can I do to let that go so that I can figure out a way to move forward in a more positive way? Because I've limited control over other people, absolutely no control over other people
Yeah.
and what they say and do.
We
Right?
want to have control over other people, but we
Yes,
really
if
don't, right?
only.
We just
Yes.
don't. So, what are your goals in either life or business for the rest
Yes.
of, like, even the rest of 2024 or 5 years, whatever your plan is?
So my goal is right now I'm working on my speaking. I've done a lot of speaking, Kelly, in
Mhm.
the fitness and wellness space. I've been speaking in fitness and wellness since like 2007.
Mhm.
And it's been a beautiful journey. It's taken me internationally to Singapore, Thailand, all the places. It's been a beautiful journey. And at the same time, I do feel like while it still brings me tremendous amount of joy, I know that the things that I speak about would serve organizations and corporations in ways that might even be more beneficial than to the fitness and wellness communities. And so really that is my goal right now is to get my presence a little more elevated in those spaces that I can go into teams and organizations and say, let me help you with stress. Let me help you with getting team communication camaraderie. Let me help you with managing different styles of personalities.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
that's really what's bringing me a lot of joy right now is to have that challenge. The challenge is always what drives me.
Oh, yeah. Good. That's great. What is an accomplishment that you are really proud of that you'd like to share? And I know sometimes it's hard to brag on ourselves, but what's an accomplishment you want to share?
Hmm. I'll have to say that my main accomplishment is the foundation of who I am, which is a tenacious person. Just
Mm.
being able to have started over those 5 times, being able to continue to put myself out there. I am not shy. I will continue to put myself out there. I have a podcast because I put myself out there.
Yeah.
I've spoken internationally because I put myself out there. I'm always the first one to throw my name in the hat and say, "Hey, I'm up for this if you need somebody." And then
Mhm.
I'm willing to step back and say it may or may not happen, but at least I know that I put myself out there. And so I do like that I've had these opportunities, and I do appreciate that I have had the courage to put myself forward facing and to take the risk that they could very well tell me no. And I'm okay with that as long as I know I did it. I took a chance on me.
Yeah, and you know what, Angie, that right there, I mean, that is why you are who you are and how you have been able to do all the things that you do. Because when you think about the people that are less confident and less courageous, and they have dreams and they want to do things, but they're so scared to take that first step.
Mhm.
Was this a skill that you developed along the way? Is this something you were taught or like you were born with? Of just the tenacity and the confidence and the courage to just go out and do it and really fight for yourself. Where did that come from?
Well, let's see. If you were to ask my family, they would probably tell you that I'm very stubborn, but don't listen to them. And so I think that, yes, there must be some inner part of me. But the truth is, Kelly, the truth is that as much as I grew up not being sporty spice, not having any awareness of my body, the truth is that when I got comfortable with my body, I got comfortable with my mind and what I could do. The power that I felt in my body and the confidence that I gained by becoming aware of how I could move my body translated to confidence in everyday life. And I have to say, anything I'm deathly afraid of, I have to conquer. So I hated speech. And I remember when I was in college, we had to take speech, and I went to a very large university. So I went home that summer and took it at a community college so that I wouldn't have to speak in front of hundreds of kids at the university. And I remember every time I would have to give a speech, my voice would shake and I would think, oh my gosh, I'm going to throw up. I don't think I can do this. And now it is give me a microphone and I'm on fire. And so I think I have to take things that scare me and I have to prove to me that I can overcome those fears. So it's just always been the way that I'm wired. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to have to show you that I can.
Mm, yeah, that's great. That's a great life lesson there for anyone that's scared of anything. You have a fear, and it could be public speaking. Um, Go and do it. Find a place for you to go and speak. And it does not have to be in front of thousands of people to start, right? But just
Right.
what's the next step to do it to really conquer that? So I love that you just have that passion and drive and the tenacity for yourself. That's amazing. So where would you like, I mean, you are doing so many things and just have so many tools in your toolbox of how you can specifically help people. So, what would you like to lead the listeners to after the podcast? Where can they find you? Do you have a special gift for them?
I do. I have a
Mhm.
gift. It's not going to show up in their mailbox or anything. I'm not going to send cookies because I don't know how to cook or bake. That's not my special skill, and it's not something that challenges me and makes me want to have a special skills, just so we're clear on that, okay? The
Yeah.
kitchen's not my friend. So, but what I do have is if they email me at
Mhm.
Angie at angiemillerwellness.com. It's a mouthful. Angie
Okay.
at angiemillerwellness.com. If they send me a quick email, say, hey, I listened to you on Kelly Rissy's podcast, I will send them a workbook on how to stop giving away your power. So it's 7 ways we give away our power and 7 ways we can stop. And it's an amazing handbook. And also, I want to share with your listener that I am hosting a retreat here in the mountains of North Carolina the third weekend
Mm,
in September, and I'll be sending out information. So if they email me and they're interested in applying to be a part of my retreat, it's a very intimate small group. So I am going to do it based on application and need and true desire.
yeah.
I would love to have any women listening come and join me on our weekend retreat.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Not only you and all the things that you will do on your treat and being in the mountains. That's
Yes,
also, I mean, some of my listeners are from Missouri, so it would be a nice change, right? To get away, go on a retreat, provide time for yourself, for you to really restore,
Mhm.
relax, fill yourself up.
That really is what it's for. It
Mhm.
really is all those things. How do we manage stress? How do
Yeah.
we manage negative dialogue? How do we treat
Mm.
ourselves with self-compassion? And how do we move mindfully? It really is all the things, and it really is geared toward women, midlife, and beyond.
Yeah, that is fabulous. Angie, thank you so much for being my guest today. As we go and we both do our mission of helping people reduce stress and feel better, live better, bring more wellness mentally, emotionally, and physically, right? We know that all three components make a difference in our lives every day, all three things. Would you
They
agree with that?
They do, and I think that you can't have one without the other. I think it's hard to have a healthy body without a healthy mind and vice versa.
Yes,
And,
yes.
Kelly, I do want to say if they don't want to email me, at least they could go to my website. It's Angie Miller Wellness. So
Oh,
even if
perfect.
they,
Yeah.
if they're forgetting, what was that again? If you go
Yes.
to Angie Miller Wellness, you can email me off my site.
Perfect. Angie. So Angie at angiemillerwellness.com or your website. And I'll put all of that in the show notes because
Perfect.
maybe some people are listening to this while they're moving their bodies, which would be fabulous because we both agree, just align with that so much. So be sure to reach out to Angie and get the 7 ways to reclaim your power. Was that what it was called? I apologize.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
perfect.
perfect. That was
Yes.
well said.
Yes, excellent. In fact, if you forget all that, just text the word power to her or email the word power to her,
That
and then you
works.
can you can get that workbook from her. And if you are interested in her retreat, be sure to reach out as well so that you can get more information in that. Angie and I know each other, and she is just a delight, and she is also brilliant in what she does. And so I want you to take advantage of any ways of reducing your stress that you can. So Angie, thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate you being a guest.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much for having me on. You are such a delight. You're such a delight in person. You're such a delight on camera. So thank you for having me on and letting me talk to your listeners.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, listeners. So here's to another week. I want you to have a great one. And as always, rise up and live, and be sure and share this with anyone who needs to hear it. Have a great one.
Thank you for being a part of the Winning in Business podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to rise up to your next level of success, but are worried about increased stress, time for work and yourself and your family, not to mention being exhausted, I'd like to invite you to a complimentary strategy call where I'll show you how you can do it all. I'll help you reclaim time, keep your sanity, handle the chaos with ease, and move to the next level of success that you deserve and desire. I hope you found value in listening today. Please always leave your comments, feedback, or questions. We check them all. I want you to continue winning in business and reach your next level of success. See you next time.